check in with anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing. Yeah, it's last. Check insurance.
All right, I just sent it to you.
Yeah, and from Monday.
Morning. How are you?
I'm well, yourself?
Yeah, I'm not meeting with our friend.
Yeah.
That was a good pep talk yesterday. No, sure.
Bring this guy with us if we can.
We can. Good morning. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Let the minutes reflect all members are present and accounted for. So with that, we will move into the approval of the minutes from September 15th. Those were presented. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I didn't see anything.
If not, is there a motion to approve?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Good, thank you. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thanks. All right, welcome to all our friends and visitors, city employees. Good to see you all here, department heads, and you, Sloaney. All right, we've got one adjustment, it looks like, for wastewater, just again for your edification. No action required. Let's move into unfinished business. This would be the August 18th alley improvement contract that was opened. One bidder, and I'll turn it over to Aaron.
Yeah, after consideration of the single bid received on the alley project, we feel it's in the best interest to reject this bid and reformulate a project to rebid out that might have a little bit of a scope reduction and more timeline on it. Well, that was one of the elements of it that scared some bidders were apprehensive to bid because the timeline that we had set on that project. So we think we can get a more competitive price if we look at de-scoping a couple of the elements that were a little higher priced than we expected and give a longer timeline to complete the project. And we would hope to put out the new project within the next few weeks for that opportunity to rebid this, because we still do have a project out there we need to accomplish to improve that alleyway.
And Aaron, that view was corroborated by VS Engineering in the letter that they did agree with that rejection.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, any questions?
No, you want a motion?
Please.
Okay, I'll move we accept Aaron's recommendation for the bid rejection on the alley improvement project.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, thank you. All right, we've got a street closure. I don't believe there's anyone here from GLAM. This is an event that they've held in the past. It's a closure of Buffalo from Market down to the railroad tracks. The only thing I noted is, shows the event start time being at 1 o'clock, but I think that was should be 7 o'clock because they're gonna close the road at 6, and then the event time, I would assume, starts at 7. So
I also noticed they didn't have any indication they have insurance.
Somebody should probably remind her, she should,
that event is on the, when is that coming up?
The 26th.
26th. We could defer approval if that's if you're concerned about that, or if it's,
She's waiting until it gets approved to do the insurance.
okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, that's reasonable. I mean, it's on her, so I'm good with
Yeah.
that. All right. A good point, Diane, thank you. Any,
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve that, provided that she gets the proper insurance.
okay.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, thank you. Dustin, I believe you want to discuss the recycling contract?
Yeah, Public Works Department is requesting permission to advertise for sealed bids for the city's curbside recycling program. Our contract will expire here at December 31st, 2023. So for next year, it's just that time of year. We usually typically go for like a 4-year contract with an escalation clause in there. So yeah, just looking to update and advertise and get some bids for recycling. We're currently just a little over $3 a can per month, so.
What was the total of that contract the last time? 170,000, or was it a little?
Just under, it's about $150-some thousand
Okay.
a year is what we're paying in recycling right now. We're anticipating with some of the new housing developments and stuff going in that
More.
we'll go up.
More
I
stops.
think when I talked to you before about doing this, we went from 3,200 cans that I actually kind of factored in about 3,500 for next year, about a 300 resident increase is what we're shooting for, so.
Yeah, I know the markets for those recyclables are pretty sporadic, and I wouldn't think there's a big change, but it'll be interesting to see how that
Yeah.
comes back from 4 years ago.
Well, we'd like to know before the end of the year what we're getting into, so.
Yeah.
We have it ready to go.
For sure.
I make a
Okay,
motion, we grant permission to solicit the bids.
I'll second that.
all right. Any further questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy, you've got a pay application for the, I think it's a southern lift station? Northern. There's one later on for the southern.
Yeah, so this is the refinancing of the sewage bonds and to get additional funding for some environmental projects, one being the lift station to service the airport. And this pay application is the amount of $30,440 and will be sent to be paid from those funds.
So Diane, the SRF allowed us to refinance our $40 million of bonds, and the difference, we continue to pay the same, but the difference we were allowed to use for environmental projects, and this is one of them.
Yeah, so there's basically an interest rate deduction, so reduction in the interest rate freed up some more capital than we use for these projects.
Now, does this additional money go into what we're allowed as the percentage of overage of the original contract?
No, this is the financing side of it.
Yeah,
This
it's
is,
the
we've been,
financing, yeah.
yeah, this is just what we're paying to finance the bonds. And the SRF, this is a very important tool that the SRF has given us to try and get ground, I think it's limited to groundwater.
Groundwater.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that, and then I think is Warsaw Chemical on there
Yes,
as well?
the next,
Yeah,
Warsaw
there's
Chemicals the next
two
one.
projects on today's docket that benefit from the SRF saying, here, you guys just keep paying what you're paying, but we're gonna take some money out of there because we've lowered we've refinanced the bonds. Instead of us keeping that money, we're gonna give it to you to do these projects. So, and yeah, as long as they're stormwater projects.
Yeah, had to be groundwater. So it had to deal with either groundwater
Okay.
contamination, i.e. the Warsaw Chemical, or
Okay.
groundwater reduction in pollution, i.e. septic system.
Okay.
And SRF holds the funds at the Bank of New York, so that's why we have to request it for the payment. And Bank of New York will make that payment then once
Okay.
they give the request form at the SRF.
Okay.
I would just like to, in my last few months here, publicly thank Jim McGough at Indiana Finance Authority for bringing that to us.
Yeah.
And it's just, we've been the benefactors of
I know
a
we use it for
really
other things.
wonderful state agency that's helped us with all the environmental and stormwater concerns we have in our community. Boy, we got a good partner down in Indianapolis through the state. So,
The good news is work has started on that again, and I expect probably by the end of October, we should see the airport should be tied into the sanitary sewer system.
Is Nick smiling back there? I can't see him. There we go, okay. I'll make a motion, we approve the pay application.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. And item 4 is being funded, I believe, along the same lines with the
Yeah,
same.
same
mechanism.
program. It was done at the same time. The two projects we presented was the airport lift station and then the cleanup of the Warsaw Chemical property. So you have the pay application, $25,728 to Lynn Douglas, who was the environmental company doing the cleanup for Warsaw Chemical.
I'll move to approve that pay app.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
All right. Jeremy, just, is there a timeline on the Warsaw Chemical mitigation and how we're going to be involved? Can you just kind of give us a broad stroke of that?
Yes and no, because there's testing that's required.
Got it.
So as they do that testing, as the testing comes back and they're meeting the goals and objectives as outlined within their program that was approved by the state, then they'll keep moving forward to completion. If there's hiccups along the way, they'll have to address, how are we going to address those hiccups? So there's not a set time frame. It'll basically be based on those testing that they're doing to see if the program that they put in place is doing what it's intended to do, which is
Yeah.
clean up that groundwater issue.
So it's not an open-ended source of funds. We've got a cap on that.
It does have a cap.
Yeah, okay.
And that cap was based on the program that was presented to them. So Warsaw Chemical and their environmental company
Right.
said, here's what we think is going to work.
Yep.
The state reviewed that, they approved their plan, and now they're implementing that plan with the assumption that it's going to accomplish what they expect it to.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know that's a lot of work. All right, Aaron, we got a pay app for Yoder on the Center Lake recreational trail.
That's correct. Presented before you is the first pay app of the Center Lake Recreational Trail construction with R. Yoder Construction, Inc. It is basically for work up through September 15th. They're doing it a mid-month stagger. They're only going to bill us once per month, but they've decided that it made sense to do it as a mid-month timeline. So they're requesting $156,568.55. Both the project engineer with A&Z Engineering and myself have verified the quantities and the work was completed satisfactorily, and it would be our recommendation to proceed with payment as presented.
All right. Questions?
I'll move we approve the pay app.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? Larry, could you come up and give us just a quick update on the trail, how it's progressing and when you anticipate it being done?
Well, they did a lot of the sidewalks going to the tennis courts, away from the pavilion, things like that. They've cut the pump house down, got it to grade. They did the electrical bases. They put the retaining wall in front of the north side of the pavilion on the thing. They've got the retaining wall in. They're forming up the 10-foot pass going to the south. So, I mean, they're coming right along. I think a lot of things are.
Yeah, really, they've set all the foundation work now that I think within the next 2 weeks, you're really gonna see the trail all come together, including the patio. And then once the steel is in to do the pump house deck, they'll move over to that, and that'll probably be the final thing done. But you're gonna see a lot of it's gonna clean itself up in the next couple of weeks, and you'll really be able to see
Real
what's
quick.
coming together.
And
I think they have
that,
till December 8th, I think, is the final.
December?
Yes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think they're ahead of schedule.
They are.
And then that trail project is going to interface a little bit with the pavilion project right in front. Can you just talk a little bit about that, what it's going to do?
Absolutely. When we looked at this, the trail, the foundation on the lakeside was at kind of different levels. So it was, after discussing with Aaron, we thought it would be best that they tear out the asphalt and the concrete that went to the face of the pavilion there and just poured that all in one pour so the elevations and everything would line up and it would look good. The patio would look good, the stairs going down and everything would look suffice there as opposed to having multi-levels
Yeah.
going up and down.
Great.
It's going to be a pretty impressive
Yeah.
patio area, seat wall they're calling it, and it'll all come out the same grade as the pavilion finished floor, and then there'll be steps down to the beach there and landscaping. I mean, it's going to really enhance that pavilion. It's
So hopefully we can ribbon cut in December, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely.
We can go ice skating.
No, not then, hopefully not. All right, great. Well, thank you, I appreciate it, Larry.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Item 6 is the engineering. Did we not vote? Okay, let's go
I'll make
ahead.
a motion, we approve the pay application.
I'll second that.
All right, further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, now let's move on to 6. This would be the pavilion renovation. It's like one of the final pay apps.
Yeah, this should be the next to last pay app they are requesting. This is pay app 12 for the Center Lake Pavilion renovation. They're requesting $27,187.73. That basically it finishes out the project other than a 10% retainage that we're holding. There's a few punch list items they're resolving out there before we would release the almost $300,000 in retainage. So we're very comfortable paying this out and that we have plenty of retainage that's going to see through these last couple pieces. One being the divider wall that's going to separate the two spaces. There's been some challenges there. They're coming back next week to reinstall some new parts that they had to order or modify to fit that and make that work. Then there was the lockers for the lifeguards. That there was a lead time on getting those lockers in, and so those will still need to be installed, and I think they expected those to be about a week out. So the space is useful. We've already used it, as you know, but official construction closeout still has those few pieces that we'll see over the next month come
Yeah.
together.
We have spectacular ribbon cutting, and I just publicly want to thank each and every one of our employees for our part in the project. We had some great engineering and architecture and construction, but you know, Dustin in the street department worked on the asphalt, and the parks department guys worked on the asphalt, tore out the old concrete, and just made a beautiful approach to just a stellar project, and really very
It was a
much
really great
appreciate-
team effort. Typically,
Really
you don't
was.
want to intermix different workers into the same space, but CME was very accommodating to allow us to bring in our own crews and work in that area and get some of that done as we needed to get it done.
I was even invited to come down and jump on the asphalter, so did a very short section and was glad to be relieved by the professionals, so.
I've got pictures if anyone needs.
Dave might need that, yeah.
He's hired if he needs a retirement job.
Yeah,
No, it's a great project, and again, Aaron, I know you did a whole lot, and everybody, so I thank you all for that.
A lot of good publicity over
All right,
the.
so,
I'll make a motion that we approve the pay app.
And I'll second that.
all right, any final comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you. This next item, Kelly Park Pond, I know you remember about a year ago, we talked about this project, and we ran into some issues with the elevations, and I had to kind of go back to the drawing board with our engineers and have worked through that. So Aaron, I'll let you kind of take over.
Yeah, so with the elevations that were discovered during construction and having to go back to the drawing board, it did take a little while. to come and land on the solution that we felt comfortable proceeding with. They had to do some additional surveying work and investigation out there, modify permits, and make sure everything was going to be kosher with any of that went along with the project. So took us a little bit of time to land on it, but finally through much negotiations with our contractor, G&G Excavating, and our engineers presenting some different options that we could still achieve the goals of the project as far as improving the sediment runoffs and also securing our sanitary sewer that is exposed and being eroded near. We came to a project that's actually going to cost $105,588.85 less than the original contract. That's because there's a little less concrete pipe, a little less excavation work that they're going to have to do. So we're coming in with a lower cost project that's still going to accomplish our goals, and G&G Hauling and Excavating was willing to hold, we negotiated a couple prices, but they were willing to hold their prices firm and be able to come in and complete this work in the spring and summer of next year, because it's not work that's going to be appropriate to try to do in the late fall or the winter. So that's unfortunate. We're talking here, but we're not going to actually see the work for this start up until the spring. But we really wanted to get this back under contract with our partner, because we feel like the alternative of trying to cancel a project and rebid a different project was going to cost the city even more money and time, and that would be not the recommended way that we felt would go. So here before you, change order 2 will put this project back on track, if you so are agreeable to approving.
Yeah, and I just want to thank Aaron for working through this. Christopher Burke Engineering really got to work and came up with a revised plan in a very fair manner. And I know G&G were very patient through the whole process, and as a result, I know this project's been on the books for a while, but we get started next year.
Yeah, that was good. Christopher Burke recognized some things. They took responsibility and got on it and helped us. We're not paying any money beyond that, beyond what we already paid to engineer the project and to prepare the project. So really, we're going to come out of it, I think, with a great project after sorting through this less than desirable situation. Unfortunately, it happened on a project that didn't affect roadways or public traffic accesses and things, and we were able to sit tight and figure it out, per se.
All right. After all that, are there any questions?
I'll make a motion that we approve the change order for the project.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. Any further or final comments?
I guess I would just like to say that it's nice to live in a community where contractors are willing to work with you and put the community first over their profits. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thanks, Aaron.
I'll save it for the additional comments. I wanted to make a positive remark about contractors, but I'll wait till the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Oh,
Item 8 is some travel requests. Denny,
Yes, sir.
any,
So we got 5. Nick going to the Aviation Annual Conference in Fort Wayne. We've got EMS Chief Fansel doing some hostage negotiation and crisis intervention training. I'm asking to be able to go down to an Indiana Chamber event in Indianapolis for the Future of Workforce Conference. And then Craig Shrove from the Street Department, we're sending him to train the trainer. That's so that he can become a CDL trainer and help us train new employees to get their CDL license.
so is that by the way or behind the wheel? Behind the wheel.
Behind the wheel.
BTW, all right. All right, any questions?
no, I'll move we approve the travel requests as presented.
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, and then Denny, you've got a new hire or change in payroll.
Yep, everything we have here is just changing payroll. Adding some stipends, police department they're getting experience. They're able to start adding some stipends for some officers, so it's all good stuff. Eric Graham at the wastewater plant got his CDLA, and then there's a merit raise for Jason Henry out at the wastewater plant. He took over as the lab supervisor about 90 days ago and has been doing a terrific job. So we felt that he deserved that merit increase.
All right, questions?
Looks like we'll have a new animal control officer then.
Yes, Officer Krept has taken on that duty as Officer Curtis has resigned.
All right,
I make a motion we approve.
I'll second that.
further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Nick, I think you're going to present the printer contract, citywide printer contract.
Yeah, so it's been a long time coming. Mayor, I know this is a pet project you really wanted to see through as well. This contract is going to consolidate all of the city's printers, copiers, faxers underneath one contract with ITG. We went out and talked to a lot of different the IT group went out and talked to a lot of different companies. After the citywide review, we saw a lot of discrepancies in how much different departments were paying in a cost per copy. We have some departments that were upwards of 30, 35 cents per color copy because of inkjet printers. This is going to, similar to the Wildman contract when we renegotiated all of those and brought the city underneath one contract with Wildman. This will do the same thing for printers. Black and white copies will be 0.006 cents per copy, and color copies will be 4.5 cents per color copy. So it will just standardize it for all of the departments. However, part of that, to get that cost per copy down, we have to go with new printers so that everybody is using the same equipment. We move away from inkjet printers. That's the largest expenditure in the city. And so this will take us all to a laser monochrome type. And some printers will be color, some will be black and white. We worked with all the departments as well to reduce the amount of printers and copiers that were in the departments. There was a lot of departments where and I'll use my airport, you don't really realize what you have until somebody comes in and points out, well, why do you have a printer there? And then another one 10 feet away, and then another one 5 feet from that on somebody else's desk. And we've had these printers since I started 10 years ago. So for us, it didn't really make any difference. Looking at purchasing new, they made a lot of sense to we went from 5 printers in our department to 2. There's no reason to purchase equipment. Myself and my staff can get up and walk an extra 10 feet. It's good for us. So we made recommendations to the departments, and the total amount for the project is going to be $104,778, and that will replace all of the printers, copiers, and everything throughout the city. There's some departments that will also help streamline, where they have employees that are having to go in and fold letters that they send out to residents. These new copy machines will actually be able to do that folding for them, and it will reduce the workload on the employees. So there's going to be time savings in there as well. We are estimating between $12,000 and $15,000 a year in print savings once this contract is signed. And that is just going to be seen citywide moving forward. So we're pretty excited to get this project going.
And then what will the annual, maintenance fee?
There is none. So that's the reason we chose to go with ITG. There is no annual maintenance fee. All of that is built into the cost per copy, and they only bill us for copies made. So if, my department decides to go on a 2-week vacation and nobody prints anything for that 2 weeks, there's nothing charged for those 2 weeks. You are only charged per copy. We will still be responsible for purchasing our own paper. So we will, the city will still have to do that. That's pretty standard in the print world. And then all of the maintenance, drums, rollers, toner, all of that is covered underneath that 6 thousandths of a cent per, or 0.006 cents per black and white, and 4.5 cents per color covers all of those incidentals then.
Yeah, we're fortunate that we've got a kind of a national vendor locally here. that was able to put all this together. But as Nick suggested, we needed to bring everybody under one roof on this thing, and IT Governance Committee's done a great job. They go above and beyond sometimes, and I think this is a case where they did that. So Nick mentioned the savings. I'm obviously in full support of this.
And the printers are made to last longer, aren't they now?
Yep.
So you say some of them are pretty old.
Correct, yeah. So typically, when you go to print services like this, these printers are typically made to last 5 years, and then you look at updating. About that 5-year point, you're going to be spending more to maintain those printers than they're worth keeping. And so luckily, this company only does a 1-year contract. If we don't like them in a year, we can say, you know what, we're going to go a different way. We still own the printers, and they don't have to go anywhere. We can just, bring that back in-house and try and do it. The mayor's office has been with this company for 8 or 9 months. Their copy machine quit working, and so we had to do something immediately. And I know the mayor's office and HR has been using these copiers and printers and have had their technicians are checking on it, a couple times a month, making sure that we have stocked toner and rollers and all that kind of stuff. And it's been very, very smooth.
All right, any further questions?
I have a question that everyone else does. And the terms and conditions under number 20, it's device protection, and it has to be initialed if it's going to be declined, and it's at $7.99 per month per device. And I think we've had that problem before, and something wasn't initialed,
And
so
when
we got
initial,
charged.
be sure we do it.
There's a sign. I just want to make sure that
Okay.
you're aware.
All right. And Nick, you wanted us to decline that
Correct.
device protection, okay? That's part of your recommendation.
Correct.
Okay. All right, duly noted.
That, I was just rereading to make sure I'm speaking. So that protection is covered underneath our contract with BIT. So that's more of if I can't print to my printer, there's a network issue, BIT owns the network. And so they are going to be fixing those types of issues. And that's what that Device Plus protection is for.
All right. All right, thanks, Lynn. All right, final comments?
I'll make a motion we approve this contract.
All right, thanks, Diane.
I'll second that.
Appreciate it. Any further comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Whitney's going to present the elevator renewal.
This is American Elevator, who we use for the elevator at City Hall. It's just our annual maintenance, and under that, we get the monthly certification that everything checks out. It'll be paid out of HR, and then the contract itself will move over to HR next year when maintenance goes under that department.
Whitney, do you remember, is it up from last year, or is it
It's actually down,
Oh.
almost $400.
going down?
Let's prove that quick.
I don't know if that's a good sign
What's
or bad
going
sign.
Just a joke. All right, great. Questions?
No, I think we ought to vote to approve the elevator contract.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. George, you're making me laugh today. All right. Good morning.
Good
How are you,
morning.
Steph?
Good. How about you?
Great, thank you. What do you got for us?
So this morning, I have an application approval that I need from you guys so I can apply for the grant with the Kosciuszko County Community Foundation. This will help support our summer concert series, so it's very important to us. If I'm allowed to apply for that, it would be in the amount of $7,000. This is how much I applied for last year, and we were able to get all of that given to us. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's just a great, great program, you know.
It is.
It really reaches a lot of folks. We're thankful for the Indiana Arts Commission grant, and
Yes. and then
And the
budgeted money
foundation.
would be added into that. Our numbers were up by 1,000 participants this year for the summer concert series also. So, you know, getting those extra funds this past year we were able to bring in different talent and some different bands, so.
Great. All right,
Yeah, I'll move to approve.
I second that.
all right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, before we start these next three, I would ask that our media partners show discretion in their reporting on these items. Santa Claus rental. All right,
Yes. So this year, we are going to have Santa come back and join us on December 1st for our Light Up the Night event. Last year was the first year that he was a part of us, and he made everything magical.
He was wonderful, and he stayed way beyond his contract.
He did.
He was not going to let one kid that wanted to talk to him leave. He was awesome.
And this year, that contract includes a Mrs. Claus. So the contract is $100 more than it was last year, but I think that it is well worth it. That night was just very special.
I'll make a motion, we approve the contract.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
all right.
The contract for reindeer food
And then,
to get there.
again, item 14 and 15, let's just consider those as well. Just different timetable, the 8th
Yes.
and the 9th.
Yes, and that's for Santa's workshop, and we will have Mrs. Claus there doing a bakery with the kids. So it'll be something new this year, which I think will be very fun. She's going to come in and decorate cookies with the kids.
Will that be in the pavilion?
That will be at the Pete Thorne Center in the gymnasium.
Got it, okay.
It just takes quite a bit of time to set up for that program. So
Okay.
we thought we would use a building that's
Sure.
not used as much.
All right,
So
great.
there's just two different nights, but the same service.
We have Friday night, which last year we had one event. This year with ARPA money, we were able to add that additional day. We sold out of this event very quickly last year, and a lot of parents had a lot of great comments about it, and they wanted us to keep the numbers lower. It was just very easygoing program. So we were able to get that money and have an additional day for that. So,
Great.
yeah.
Can
All
we
right.
do them together? Do we have
Yeah,
to-
just do them together,
I'll
that's
make a
fine.
motion that we approve both of the contracts for Santa's workshop.
Items 14 and 15.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you.
Okay, and my last one is a contract for Art in the Park, macrame by Kate. She's going to come in and do a macrame class for us, and that fee went up $100, but we sold out of that class last year, and we also expect to do the same this year. She's great. We're going to do a Christmas tree macrame that has some little ornaments on it. It looks really nice, so.
Questions?
I'll make a motion, we approve the contract with Kate.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
'Tis the season, right?
It is.
All right. Jeremy is going to present for Justin a engineering contract with DLZ.
Yeah, so you have before you the contract with DLZ for a new park that myself and the planning department and Aeronaut and Larry and his team have been working on out by the airport. The initial part of this contract will be to do a lot of the preliminary engineering work and get us to a cost basis that we would be able to then start to segment what section of the park we're going to start on first, because it is a very large park. And the intent of this park is to provide additional recreational opportunities that are not otherwise provided in our existing park, so there'll be a lot of variety in terms of recreational opportunities within this park.
How big is an 18-hole disc golf?
Big,
Yeah, that sounds good.
yeah. A lot of different opportunities here. With a
Yeah.
cricket field, I think we have like a kickball field and the disc golf, a large walking trail that we will allow animals on. So just a lot of different options here.
Oakley's in favor of that.
Yeah.
Larry, I know this was part of your 5-year plan. Would you address that, please? Thank you.
Yeah, it was part of our five-year master plan to have some park and recreation north of US 30. And this came up, Jeremy brought, the idea about a cricket field. We needed cricket fields. So it's kind of escalated and it serves both purposes. I'm sure this is something that'll have to be done in phases, 62 acres. It almost doubles our park system. We're about 80 acres now, so it's a major park that we're undertaking, yes, that we would do. But it's something that I think could really benefit the community and provide that recreation to the north.
Larry, you mentioned north of 30, and I appreciate that planning. We heard at the YMCA opening the other day that I think Jim Swanson said 80% of their membership is from the north side of 30 for the current YMCA. And I think that speaks a little bit to concerns folks have in crossing US 30. And that was eye-opening to me.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your planning as we move ahead with that, to take that into consideration, and the Parks Department, our Parks Board.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Jeremy said, we don't allow dogs in our parks, and we're looking to have a dog-friendly park up there. They would be on leashes, but they would be able to be on the trail and throughout the park. So that's another benefit that we've heard in our five-year master plan too, that the public does want that. So
Great.
yeah.
All right, thanks, Larry.
Thanks.
All right, questions?
Now, I'll move we approve the professional services contract.
And I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you. Brian, are you going to present stormwater, the Lilly Public Education?
This first one, I don't believe there's any action that needs to be taken. It's just, this is a contract we signed last year with Gray Schools. They installed a sensor on, I believe it was Deeds Creek, was it upstream of Pike Lake? And this year they're going to install a second one on Loans Ditch below, and they're just doing monitoring of flows and conditions within those, and also doing some sampling, kind of seeing the effects of on Pike Lake of what those ditches are doing.
I'm a little bit, I don't have that on here.
The first one's for the educational contract.
Yeah. But
That
I
we
don't,
have.
I don't see anything regarding,
You approved the contract last year, this is just the second, it was a 3-year contract, and this is the second year, each year the payments are different, and it's sort of.
no, but we're not talking about that. He's talking about a different issue with the sensors.
No, that's
That's
this
basically
education,
installing a
that's
sensor.
this,
Article A2.
Okay.
So,
Got it. All right. My mistake.
Well, I can confirm that sensor one is there.
oh, it's,
I've been
yeah,
out
it's
to the
working.
testing site, so.
We should be getting our annual report here before too long.
Okay.
So are we just acknowledging the continuation of this contract?
Yes.
Since we already
Yes.
We do
signed it?
have the option to say we want out, but we
Oh.
have to give a 3-month
I remember that.
notice to,
Well, from what I can see, they're fulfilling their contracts, so I would acknowledge that and
Yep.
recommend we move on.
I saw the term education. I thought this was their annual
No.
contract, so my bad. And I do remember when that sensor, when we did that and saw that there could be a bump where there was obviously an increase. So no action required, just acknowledgement from the board. You good with that? Okay. All right. So we can move to the next item 19.
yes, this is a project on Park Avenue, storm sewer, kind of an alley. It's one of those where there's pipes that go across the street, across the alley, and then back across the street, and we have some issues with some of the piping in that area. So they're going to kind of regrade the intersection a little bit and clean that all up, repair the damaged pipes. This contract is just to get it through the bid phase and the pre-bid meeting associated with that.
Questions?
No, I'll move to approve.
And I'll second that.
All right, further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. All right, and it looks like we're, item 20 would be contract for a stormwater study in Timber Ridge.
Yes, this is going to end up being real similar to the south side drainage study we did. Oh, when was that? Probably 15 or
Yeah, it's been a while.
2015, something like that. But that's what developed all the projects in the Eisenhower Basin, and the Kelly Pond is sort of the end of the major projects in that south side drainage study. Well, this will be a similar study that we have for this addition out there. There's several drainage issues. This was a county addition that went in that was later annexed by the city. And so some of the storm drains aren't exactly how we would like to see them. A couple of the properties have quite a bit of water flowing over them. So we're just taking I guess you'd say a 30,000-foot look at this, and then we'll start drilling down into projects to start resolving some of the issues out there. Is that accurate, Aaron?
Yeah, I agree with that explanation.
So I'll make a motion that we approve this contract.
I will second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right.
I would like to add that, through the ARPA funds, we've been able to move up some of these projects that were on the horizon, but we did not have the funds to do. So we have been able to advance some of these projects that were sort of just sitting out there that we wanted to accomplish, but weren't able to yet, so.
I appreciate that, Brian. We've really prioritized our stormwater projects, and, obviously, we had a utility increase several years ago that helped with that. We still use some money out of CCD, and then we even set aside some ARPA money to get these projects going. And I much appreciate what's been done on the south, and now taking a look at the north and all around the community. So thank you very much for your work on that.
If you don't mind, I think a clarification back on item 19 with the amendment to Park Avenue. I believe the contract suggested amount increase of 11,100 is not correct. I think the contract increase is actually $5,150. Well, there are two items. I'm misspeaking, excuse me. I'm misreading something. It was an increase in that amount, and most of that was because of NIPSCO conflicts out there, just to add to the record.
So it's correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay.
And I was just thinking that seemed higher than what I thought it was, but they did have a lot of design changes as a result of NIPSCO.
Yeah, there's a major gas line that runs through there that is in poor condition, and we've had to work through NIPSCO trying to coordinate projects so they can get the gas line moved and repaired, and it's.
Excuse me, yeah, it's correct. I misread that.
All right.
Thanks for keeping an eye on that.
Yeah.
It's all right, yeah. So,
So the amount of the increase is $11,100.
It is, that's correct. That is the increase.
Yep. That was item 19. Okay. All right. Next.
The next one is a wastewater pay request to GNG for the 200 South Sewer Expansion Project, the lift station we're putting on the south side of town. The line is pretty much all in. They're working on the lift station right now, the electric, and getting pumps and those sorts of things installed. So the project's moving along nicely.
Brian, when will that be ready to accept the build
I
out
believe
from
it's
the neighborhood?
I believe completion scheduled for the end of October. Is that substantial? And then
That's been the completion of our end, but.
We're having a little trouble with generators.
Yeah, electric service is possibly November
Yeah.
before the electric service will be there to actually power the lift station.
Oh, and why is that?
NIPSCO having
Oh,
to
okay, thank you.
redo.
That's all you need
I'm
to say.
just curious.
Kind of like the railroad.
All right.
common
I'm
issue
sorry,
in a
but
few
I
projects.
really wanted to know. All right,
I'll make a motion, we approve the contract with G&G Hauling and Excavating.
I'll second that. Okay,
any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I just wanted to point out, both those lift stations, one from the north and the south, are allowing us to create considerable housing opportunities. Jeremy, do you have just a rough number of lots that could be serviced by those in the south, or?
That's being built, and then the south one has another, probably 200 that could be built. So current subdivisions under plan, the Park Ridge one is just under 100 and some lots, like 93 lots, and then the north, out by the airport, 140 some.
Yeah.
So,
250, then an additional,
And then the south one certainly has the capacity in that area to add a couple hundred more.
On both these projects, we tasked Westler with what is the best location for these to service the maximum area. Some of them are put in a little deeper just to extend that reach of that that pump station to be serviced by gravity. So we did look at surrounding properties, not just what was being asked to be developed in locating these.
we normally don't have ribbon cuttings for lift stations because there's really not much to see. But it's really important and they're really expensive, and it just, today will be our celebration of that, so.
We could start a new thing.
No, I don't think so. I'll let the next guy do that. All right, fair enough. All right. Item 22, Stormliner.
Yeah, this is just the notice to proceed for the contract that we awarded on 9/15 for the lining projects for this year. That also includes, there's a failed storm pipe on Center Lake, and it's causing a big sinkhole in the beach area, and so that also includes getting that repair done. We've worked with Larry and their contractors that are doing that boardwalk, so we're trying to coordinate getting that accomplished.
All right.
Clarify, it's actually the owner contractor agreement, that's before you, including the notice.
Oh,
All right.
Do you want a motion on that?
Yeah, please.
I'll move we approve the solution notice to proceed.
Hey, Brian, all these stormwater projects, they get videotaped, right? Camera goes in,
Yes.
we keep the video.
all these lining projects have a pre and post video.
Very good.
Good point. And that measures the distance is correct when you
Correct.
take the camera through there. Great.
And that the work was done.
Just, it's great.
So I'll second your motion.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right.
Brian, I just have a question. How are we doing on getting caught up with all the inliners that needed to be taken care of?
We are doing well. In 17, we did the $10 million worth of projects that addressed probably 90-95% of what was considered a grade 5, which is basically a failed pipe. So we still had a few more of those to address, and now we're kind of addressing sort of the grade 4 pipes. We have not, our goal is by the end of this year to be 100% through the storm system, so we don't quite have all those videoed and graded yet, but we are also, probably more than half of that contract is storm pipes. So we're trying to do both. we put them out as one project for the best pricing.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Yeah, we knew that was a long process, and like you said, we hit the fives first, and I'm sure there's,
We try and budget about $500,000 a year on the sanitary side to continue that work so we don't get back in that same situation we were in. And then on the stormwater side, we try and do another 300,000 to 500,000 on that side.
A note that I think Brian he knows and mentioned, we're also looking at an alternative delivery method for those kind of projects. Now that we've used Westler to help do a lot of that work up front, I think we're in a position where, as a city, we can put together a package of pipes that we want to send out and get lined and be more efficient in just getting from point A to point B if the funds are there.
right? All right, item 23 is maintenance for the SCADA system.
So this is an opportunity, Xylem, who we currently use for our SCADA system, which is just a supervisory, it stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. So it's how we monitor all our lift stations throughout the community. We have about 50 of them. This is a program that they have developed, and they are asking the city of Warsaw to be a beta site for them. So they take all this information that we get from this software program, and they run it through their this Poseidon software, and it's able to help you do preventative maintenance, get ahead of problems. It can see problems that are developing, pumps starting to plug, pipes starting to plug, pumps starting to fail, before you could actually probably see it on your own. So it helps improve our efficiencies of just going to the stations we need to go to, instead of just, we try and do all of them. So this helps direct your maintenance crew on the preventative maintenance types of items instead of being more reactive to problems coming up. So it's a $0. They just would like for us to be a beta site for them to help start to get this where they can have a product to release in the future.
So,
So we're just approving permission for
yeah,
you to do it?
boiling this down, this could potentially help predict lift station failures.
Correct.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Save a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of heartache when those things.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's true.
Well, and if it can save call-ins on nights and weekends, you can
Yep.
see a problem developing and address it prior to a red light coming on, or
Yeah.
us getting an alarm through the SCADA system telling us we have a problem. This will hopefully help see a problem coming before the alarm.
Brian, how long have we had the SCADA system? It hadn't been that long.
Hadn't been that
Couple
long.
years.
We just kind of completed it maybe 6 months ago
Okay.
with 100% of the lift stations.
Right.
And prior to having the SCADA system, we sent a person around every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. They literally drove to all 50 lift stations and checked them. So now that person no longer has to spend 2 hours of his day doing that. The SCADA system monitors all that information, and this will help us see these problems developing, hopefully before we ever get an alarm.
And this was paid for by that same IFA loan that I referred to earlier. Yep. Okay. Questions?
Nope, I'll move to approve. Or we already did, didn't we?
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right,
Thank you.
thanks, Brian. No special claims, Lynn? All right. George and Diane,
I looked those over, did you see?
I did not think I
Claims
asked
docket.
Lynn a couple questions, and I'm good.
all right.
Is that a motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the claims docket.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, any other items carried forward?
I want to share a quick remark. We mentioned earlier, about contractors being good partners and everything. We discovered out on 300 North roadway project that was constructed about 3 years ago by Fendon Brown, our utility crews who are out proactively checking for pipe problems, found a damaged pipe underground, pretty significantly, and it became apparent that it was probably damaged during construction, and no one noticed it or whatever, and it got paved over, and the roadway doesn't show any problems yet, but we found this, it's gonna be a problem. Well, anyway, Fenton Brown notified them, they're totally stepping up to the plate even without being technically under any warranty or anything still, but just wanting to do the right thing. So I just wanted to share with you guys, that's one of the great things of some of our local contractors. They do recognize the relationship and the reputation and all that. And it's gonna be a little bit of a pain for them to come back and do that, but is the right thing to do. And just was pleased that they're doing that. I want to share that. On the other note, that's the positive thing of our sewer team being able to go out, use our nice trucks with cameras on them and stuff and find these kind of things before we have a roadway with a big sinkhole going on and have to do an emergency repair on it.
Yeah, we're certainly
That was-
blessed with technology. Yeah, and a great department, so thank you.
That's good.
Dustin, anything on downtown markings?
Monday.
Monday,
The
okay,
rain got out from this morning, they rescheduled for Monday.
okay.
That reminded me of one more comment, the streetlight situation, so I can update you. Right now, Sternberg is at the street department finishing their procedure of modifying the base plates. They're supposed to be done with that today or tomorrow, or excuse me, today or Monday. So Hawk, our contractor Hawk, can come back in and get that project done.
Great, thank you. All right. All right, any questions or comments? Obviously, a lot going on, a lot of work this morning. I appreciate you guys hanging in there and getting through all this, and certainly appreciate our departments for all the hard work they do, and it shows with this busy agenda, so.
Do you want to mention the change of date for the next meeting?
Yes, that's a good point.
I believe it's
Is
going to
it
be
gonna be?
October
I thought it was gonna be-
19th.
Let me look. I think she changed. I think it's the 19th.
October
Yep.
19th at 10:30.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I will be gone on the 20th, and I've asked
that's it.
that it be moved the day before to the 19th, so we'll stay at 10:30. George, you're going to be gone
I'm gonna
that
be
day,
gone that day.
okay? But Diane and I will
Gone
be
that
here.
week, so
So,
that's why.
all right. So,
It should be you and I.
FYI, the next Board of Works meeting is October 19th at 10:30. You don't have to worry about that.
I would agree about it.
We presently have a bid to be received that on the 20th. I believe as long as it's in a public setting, we can still keep that, just open that bid here with
Yeah.
public then, so, okay.
Yeah.
Continue that.
Scott, can you be here for that, for the bid opening?
Likely, yes.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
it was at 10:30 as well.
Yeah, we said it to then be considered at the Board of Works, but we can consider it at the following Board of Works after it, as long as we go ahead and open it.
Great, great, thank you. All right, anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Have a good trip. So all the kids are going to get to go, oh, well, it's fall break, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. Different,